me speaking from personal experience of how to properly pick yourself back up after you have slowed down a pitfall, a stumble in your life. A lot of people, when they come across an obstacle, there is many routes that people can take, and that determines the type of man they become, the success they accumulate in their life, or just who they become down the road. And there's multiple ways of going about it. A lot of people, they hit a roadblock, they stumble, they fall, and they'll continually go in this cycle where they self-sabotage or they beat themselves up in their head, or they feel like they lost momentum. Like what happened with me, I was working out, I was just going hard, and then I just started to get like a slight sickness from all of the cold plunges and the running and the workouts, and I slowed down. And then when I slowed down, I was beating myself about slowing down, and then I was having negative thoughts about having negative thoughts, and then I was slowing down momentum even more, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta build it up all the way again, and I was just slowing down even more. So you could just really go down a rabbit hole very fast and very quick, and there's techniques and there's things you need to learn from these moments, because a lot of guys, when they hit a failure, when they hit a roadblock, when they hit something that impacts their lives or fucks them up, they will stop and they will settle and they will start to coast instead of taking that moment, taking that failure and flipping it on its head, being like, you know what, life, I did not know I had this weakness. I didn't know I had this issue with me. I thought I was a top G. I thought I was that guy, but apparently I wasn't, and this is the weakness that was exposed. Write it down on a piece of paper. This is what made me stumble. This is what made me fall. This is what made it worse, and this was my remedy. This is what helped. And for me, the exact story is just I was working out every single day. I was running every single day, doing cold plunges, and life just starts to build resistance. Like the more courage and the more you put yourself out there, you just feel this resistance, this energy, this pressure out of nowhere. And it doesn't matter what field you're in or what you're doing. If you're progressing in life, you're going to feel that resistance. And there's going to be things in every single field, every single endeavor that you're going to have to overcome. It may be resistance in your own mind. It may be a multiple of things, but guaranteed you will get punched in the face with whatever you're doing. You're going to have to feel those blows. You're going to have to feel the setbacks. You're going to have to feel all of those. So it's in your best interest how to properly navigate those moments, because there's so many men who hit those roadblocks and they settle, they coast, they give up, they take a step back. Instead of flipping it on its head, life just exposed a weakness inside of me that made me crumble. That could be an opportunity to flip it on its head, write it on a paper. Why did I stumble? Why did I fail? Okay, this is why I stumbled. This is why I failed. This is why I took a step back. This is what messed me up. Moving forward, this is something I could work on. This is something I could build on. This is something I could tweak inside of my life, instead of being like, you know what, I'm a failure, I'm a loser, and just losing momentum altogether. This is how life has always played out. When we were kids and we didn't know how to walk, we would get up, we would stumble, we would fall down. We would get up, we would stumble, we would fall down. In any endeavor, when you were a kid, you got really good at it because you constantly got back on the horse and you did what you loved. And that's always going to occur. You're always going to fall off. But it's the man who picks himself back up continually and learns properly how to walk, learns properly how to ride the bike without training wheels, learns properly how to do a kickflip with 100 failures. That's just inevitable. We're all going to come to those points in our life, and we could just get caught in this cycle of, well, I'm too old. You could have every excuse in the book to continually have this victimhood mentality that you could get trapped in, and you can continually beat yourself up. The best way is to be like, life, you got a good punch, you got a good uppercut, you got a good right hook, and you got me this time. But you know what you did do? You exposed this side of myself. And I feel that the test that you fail will repeat itself, and then if you overcome it, then you go on to the next test, and you go on to the next challenge, and you go on from there. And that's kind of how life is, at least for me. There's tests, there's challenges, there's things you have to overcome, and you could back away from those tests and stay at the same level, or you could gather up the experience. You could attack the obstacle, you could attack the enemy, get its health bar down, and then you're on to the next, and you're constantly just overcoming, which is building your strength, which is building your character. And those are the people you call your boss, the people who have been through the mud, the people who have taken the blows to the head, who have felt the pressure. Those are the people that we applaud in society. So you have to get back up on that high horse, and you got to try again. And your next go around, your next try, you may get further than the last time because you applied these corrections to your behavior, to your mindset, to who you are as a person. And the next go around, when you see that combination, when you see that punch being thrown, you know how to counter it this time because you learned, and you will go the distance. You will go further than you did last time. We're overcoming each and every single time. And now this is the part that I haven't figured out in my life. This is why I tie my life to God, because life can really beat you down. You can continually go through these these things and stress yourself out as a man, become cold, become emotionless, and you can almost lose your soul in the process. But honestly, I don't know if the striving and the enduring is worth it without God as a man, or just as anybody, because you look at these influencers who are constantly pushing the envelope, constantly stretching out, expanding, doing more, facing the pressure, and it looks like they're going through hell, like they're losing their minds. Everybody's more chaotic, everybody's a little more sinister.
You're to ruin my life. Just want to watch the world burn. It's mine, all of it. I'm coming for everything. I want it back in blood.
And this is why I follow Jesus Christ, because while you're enduring, while you're striving, it's like the people get more competitive, they get more wicked, they get more evil. You have to become more cold, you have to deal with more pressure, more resistance, more punches, and you become like this emotionless, cold, steeled being to where there's a huge trade-off. It's like you have to lose your soul to become successful. If you go to the forefront of any craft, people are criticizing you, people are making fun of you, everything you do is wrong. The pressure's absolutely everywhere. You're in the forefront. People are joking. You're taking blows. You're taking punches. You're doing all these things. But this is why I feel like everybody needs a relationship with God, because the more you take these blows, you fall back. A lot of men's approach when they're already suffering is turn more emotionless. Get your revenge. Get your payback. Become more savage. Mold your mind so it's more cold, so the enemy can't get those tactics or those punches in. And it's like the more you move through the resistance, it feels like the more sinister it gets. And you can go down that path. You see it with a lot of influencers. As the times progress, they're getting more disrespectful, more moralist, and it's like they're willing to do whatever it takes to achieve success. And this is why I stand with God, because when it's by myself and I fall and I stumble, my next move is become more of a savage, become more motivated, put in more blood, sweat, and tears. And that's why a lot of men suffer, because they give their soul to keep moving forward. It's like, as a man, you have to sell your soul for success in this world. That is a route. You keep giving more. You keep going through this resistance, and you keep on becoming colder and colder, because as a man, the more you move forward, the more blows you take, the more resistance, the more people want to compete for that spot. There's many variables that strip you and make you cold to where it is suffering, and it can be a cold place. So I always lean on God. And as anybody, the reason a lot of men don't continue to keep going or they settle is because they are looked at as a provider, and that's all they are meant to do. And as men, they feel like it's their obligation or their duty to constantly make something happen, to support their family, to do these things. And when they get to a certain age, or they feel like they haven't done enough or accomplished enough or became the man that they need to become, a lot of them will just settle and coast and kind of just give up and put their legs up and be like, you know what, this is what it is. I've been trying and I've just continually failed. Everything I have expelled my energy and hasn't worked. These kids, somehow they figure it out and they go off in this direction where they make millions of dollars. But for myself, I just continually keep dishing out energy, and it's like I'm getting nothing in return. And this is where you have to switch your sight. That's why you cannot be so cold. You can't just be focused on success. You can't be so focused on money, although you want that in your life. So sometimes you just got to start at your level. You got to be real with yourself and where you are at in life. The gap is so crazy. To feel satisfied, you need $1 million nowadays. And all of that pressure to become a multi-millionaire by the age of 13 is implanted in these men's mind. And there is more to life. Your reason to keep bettering yourself doesn't always have to be just to chase paper or to chase success. And a lot of the times, the thing that causes this misery is the expectation on social media, or just what society wants us to be, or what they promote is the ideal lifestyle that we need to be achieving. Like, you got to be a multi-millionaire by 13. You got to be a top G. You got to be aesthetic. You got to be all these things. And yes, it's good to benefit yourself, but a lot of the times to motivate somebody, they got to do it because they want to do it. They got to do it because they're passionate about it. That's what causes this disconnect and this suffering, is the expectation and the reality and trying to get there. And you think that you're doing nothing because you're putting in this energy, you're putting in this work, but the expectation in your head is so unrealistic from social media that you have to attain all these things. You have to become the man of the man of the man, and it can just become so unrealistic. unrealistic to where you look at your own actions and it feels like you're not doing jack shit, to where it could stress you out, it could make you feel inadequate in your actions and your life and what you're doing. And honestly, with everything in this system, I feel like it is designed to destroy us. Like everything is just way out of proportion of how a human should be living, and there's so many things wrong. And sometimes you have to switch that desperate approach of trying to be, trying to attain, trying to strive for gratitude. I know this sounds cheesy, but just being grateful for the things you have, for your parents, for your health, for everything else inside of your life that you have overlooked in the pursuit of more, because that's all it could turn into, is the pursuit of more. I need more views, I need more likes, I need more, I need more, I need more, to where everything that truly matters is overlooked. And I feel like that's one of the tactics of the enemy, the devil, is to overlook everything that actually does matter to attain things that in the end won't matter at all. And obviously you want to provide, you want to help out your family, you want to do all these things. Naturally, everybody wants to do that. But sometimes you have to switch your standards, switch your perspective. If you are stressing, if you are feeling underachieved, or you feel like you missed a step in life, or you're not the man that you want to be, sometimes you just got to be grateful for the small things in life and work at your level. Stop being unrealistic. If you barely have any money right now, go and get a job. A lot of people, they overlook jobs. They don't want to work at jobs. They don't want to do these things because on social media, they see some 12-year-old who hit like a Bitcoin drop and made like 12 million. So they undermine everything they do. But we all have to start at our levels. It's like if you're a little chubby, you're a little overweight, or you're super skinny and it's your first time in the gym and you have this expectation in your head of being a massive bodybuilder in 5 months, and you have this expectation and you feel like the energy that you're dishing in on a day-to-day basis is absolutely worthless because you're not that unrealistic expectation that has been set. You just got to be happy with your progress, and you got to go from there. Continue to move forward and continue to keep striving, and the life that is designed for you, God will bestow upon you. What is meant for you is meant for you. Just continually pick yourself back up and run your own race. Yes, I can look at other men and I can be like, wow, that guy is way more jacked than me, way richer than me, way smarter than me, way whatever it may be. But we are all running our own race, and the moment we take our eyes off our race, we're just losing time. We're wasting time on our own progress. But honestly, this system is disgusting, and it actually is like literally trying to destroy us in real time. Like everything they do is just against the people. They just want to control. They're greedy. On the news, all they do is promote fear, 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 death, 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 trauma, to program that inside of your mind for multiple different reasons. There's been nothing positive on the news since the day I was born. Okay, maybe they saved a cat from a tree. Maybe the accident this time wasn't that bad, but it's an absolute parasite. And then you go to, let's say a person has slight depression. You say, listen doc, I'm a little down and out. It's not too severe. Here's some pills with some adverse side effects, so you have to keep coming back. And they'll just throw pills in your face that alter your state of mind. And everything's just about money. And they crashed the dollar. The dollar is hyperinflated. All the world leaders are corrupt. Everything in this world is meant to just fuck with us. It's literally satanic. It's evil. It's destructive. As a man, when you are chasing these worldly things, I feel like you should go with God, because you can get lost in the sauce, always chasing, always suffering, always trying to be more, always losing your mind in the process. And sometimes you just got to take a step back and realize, hey, this is my life. Accept where you're at and start at the base. Build your way up. If you have to get a job that pays $20 an hour, go there. That's where your level is at, and then build your way up from there. You will become successful if you build where you're at and you be realistic with yourself. It's these expectations, these societal expectations that they throw on us to just pressure us to compete like it's the end of the world, and it messes up everything. Just go at your own pace and make sure as a man to always keep your morals in check while you're chasing, while you're going. It's easy to become cold. It's easy to become savage. I feel like if you do things properly, God will be more and more on your side, and you won't get lost. You won't lose yourself. You won't destroy your soul. You won't be in so many pitfalls or downfalls. Just go at your pace. Keep your morals in check. Start at the base. Work with your level. Don't compare yourself to these people who have been putting 10 years of work in. Even with myself, I look at Jay Waller or these huge corporate bosses or people who are crushing it, and I'll be looking at my life like, well, I don't got many things going on. Like, I don't have phone calls like that. I don't have all these day-to-day things going on, but it's just momentum. They built from the base, and then you just constantly build up. It doesn't have to be like one step from a normal paying job to now you're a multimillionaire. Like, that's a false expectation. Just work at your pace, but also Also, don't become overly obsessive, because I was in a period of my life when I had the most money in my life. I had a beautiful home. I had a nice vehicle. Everything was set in stone. I was just, living it up. I self-sabotaged because I didn't have the one thing that mattered, that real connection with myself, purpose, going at my own speed, not comparing, just being me through and through. And when you're on this chase, no matter how much you accumulate, you could do some pretty stupendous things if you're not deeply rooted in who you are, and you're constantly just overreaching, overextending onto the next thing and onto the next thing. Of course, over time, you could fall. And when you do fall, it's not a big deal. Life goes on. A lot of people, when they lose momentum, when they fail, including myself, will just continually beat ourselves up and be like, well, I lost momentum. I failed God. I failed the test. I failed the challenge. And now my life is meaningless and there's no hope for me. And what's the point? And all me, why me, sorry me, victimhood mentality. But just move on and be happy that you learned or you picked up some information from that moment. When I stumbled this time, I looked at it as, okay, life got me, and I could have looked at it as a failure, which I did for a little bit, not as long as I would have back in the day. But I was just beating myself up because I knew I had this energy, this momentum that I was building up in day-to-day life, and I was just continually progressing and building up, and I just beat myself up because I'm like, I just lost the momentum. I can feel it. I feel like I just slowed down from 100 to 0, and that's what got me. But I'm like, you know what? Actually, let's extract the lesson. Life got me with a good right hook, but the only reason it got me because there was a weakness that was there. And sometimes the world could just be showing some character flaws, some defects in your own self that you could patch up, you could fix, and you could start feeding energy into that side of yourself to build that up. And then as you continue, you may get struck again, and then you could be like, whoa, well, I didn't know I had that. Because we have things that don't serve us, and as people, we like to be egotistical because social media has kind of brought that out of us. We like to think that we're the man. We got to be the top G. We got to be the best. We got to outcompete. We got to outperform. All of these stupid things. So when we do get knocked down, when we do fall, we start comparing. We're like, well, this guy wouldn't do it. I just failed. Like, I'm not the man I should be. I'm not that warrior, because we think we need to be indestructible, and that's just not how life is. And that side of life of tests and challenges and responsibility is always going to be there. The more you push, the more resistance you're going to feel, the more things that will be added onto your plate. And I feel like it's just God testing, how far do you want to go? How much can you handle? How much do you want to level up? How much do you want to keep progressing? Because as humans, we need to progress in life. We need something to work on. That's why kids are so addicted to video games and those task bars and the objectives, is because our brain naturally needs something to cling on to that builds on itself. That's how the game works. You need something that you can compound, you can work on, you can keep leveling yourself up, and you can keep progressing. And that's what makes life interesting. So don't be sad, don't be angry when you crack or you break down or you fall short, because in a video game, rise up again, you repeat the level with the newfound knowledge. And the next time when you go up to that boss, you know the combos that worked previously, and you know what didn't serve you the first time. Let's say you die again, okay, redo it. Now you know the combos that worked in the previous time. Now just apply from the previous time, from that previous time, and add it all together, and then you're gonna get further than you did. And just move with that perspective, move with that mindset, and you'll get further. Stop setting these crazy expectations. I gotta be this, I gotta be the ultra mega chad of man. Like, the expectations for a man nowadays is absolutely insane, and it's because the men at the very top, those are the people we decide to listen to. So when you're listening to them, it's like you're listening to the person at the top of the top of the top. So their expectations and their standards, it's gonna be levels ahead of you, because they went through the discipline, they did the work, they felt the punches, they passed the test, they overcome the test, they failed the test, they went through all of these hurdles, they've done all the things. So the expectations and the things that they throw on you, you gotta expect to fail, you gotta expect to struggle. You can't just pick these things up and run right off the gate. Just continually pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, it's life, and go again. Keep pushing, keep persevering, and that's the mindset you need. It's never over. The moment you believe that, the devil has control of your mind. When you do fall, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be mad that you lost momentum. Don't beat yourself up continually. Be like, you know what? This is okay. Usually we'll be like, no, this is not okay. David Goggins, I gotta get back in the race. What am I doing? You put all this added pressure. I'm a man. Who do you think you are? You gotta suffer. You gotta attack. You gotta go back in there. What are you doing? As men, we have been programmed and conditioned that way. So when we fail, we beat ourselves up so much, because when we fail, it's like the end of the world, because we have been conditioned to just get it, to suffer, to be a savage, to go. So when we do have a shortcoming or something that is in our way, we have this unrealistic expectation that can continually just pound and beat us down and just put that hammer on on us, and it's just something that society promotes. And like I said, society is not healthy at all. When you take a misstep, slow down time, truly analyze, okay, why did I stumble? Why did I fall? What happened there? What weakness did I have in my mind? What caused that? And take it as an opportunity to truly analyze the whole situation. Get a piece of paper. This is what made me stumble. This is something I couldn't overcome. This was one of the weaknesses I had. And this is what life exposed. Now, what helped me out of this situation? And instead of self-destructing, self-sabotaging, going into a crazy depressive episode or going backwards in life or stagnating and staying still, now you are moving forward with more wisdom, with more knowledge, to where you're not knocked out of the race and you don't have this weird fog over your mind if it's all over. Work with what you got and move from there. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.